And their decisions continue to ripple across the markets, and also, of course, their vision transform a nation. So to begin this evening, we take a brief look at the journey of a network that celebrates those who dare to build, believe, and also lead. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin tonight's tribute, we open with a stirring classical performance, and we have a very young, talented artist here on stage, as you can see, Madhav Kalra. And this evening, Madhav is here offering a meditative musical tribute, echoing the spirit of legacy and excellence. A big round of applause for Madhav, please. That's, of course, an innings of inspiration indeed, sir. And it's our honor to welcome you to reflect on this remarkable journey. It is our privilege to invite the man himself, Mr. Uday Kotak, for a special conversation that promises insight, inspiration, and wisdom. Joining him on stage is Editor-in-Chief of Republic Media Network, Arnab Goswami. Thank you so much, and a big round of applause, please.
Sir, It's an absolute honor, privilege. I'm so happy, I'm delighted. I'm personally very moved, very, very moved that you flew down in your schedule from Mumbai. I'm sure you got other engagements in Delhi, but that you flew down to be with us, I think is a great thing. And to have a legend of the Indian corporate finance sector with us means a lot to us at the Republic Media Network. So let's give him a bigger round of applause and thank him for being with us. So a little bit of a personal angle I'd like to start with. You know, August 2000 and, no, was it this October 2016, I went to the office of Kotak Mahindra Bank, not for a loan, but I had a piece of paper in my hand, which I had made 5 copies of. And I walked in, and I said, I have an appointment with Mr. Uday Kotak. And they took me straight in there. I was so nervous, because those were 5 copies of my proposed business plan for the Republic Media Network. And I told myself that if this man says no, because I was told, meet a neutral person, Arnab. There are many people who will tell you for their own reasons, meet someone who has no agenda. I said, if this man says no, I'm not going to do it. And I'm grateful that you spent 2 hours with me. He gave me life lessons. He gave me a very neutral picture. And then he said, go ahead and do it. So whatever you're seeing here today, in a way you play a big role in making Republic happen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Whatever you say today will be quoted. You know what Trump has been doing. But first I wanted to start by asking you, sir, that when you're recognized across as a legend today of the Indian corporate banking finance sector, how do you react to it?
First, I have
Thank
to
you,
congratulate my fellow founder and entrepreneur in many ways. And we all go through the pangs and the pleasures and the journey of starting something and building it. So Arnab, congratulations in what Republic TV has become in 8 years, and making us all very proud of a truly national communication company, which hopefully is going global. And for me, the most interesting part of my journey is to see budding entrepreneurship succeed in every nook and corner of India. In our days, it was much tougher when I started in 1985. Since then, there has been more capital available, private equity available. Therefore, you're seeing a flourishing country of entrepreneurs. And what can make India great is entrepreneurship. And the big challenge in entrepreneurship, Arnab, as you would have gone through in your own journey, is from the excitement of doing creative things to building and managing processes, procedures, motivating talent to join you, and consistently being passionate to create something, along with a certain purpose in your life. And I am very, very proud when I see fellow entrepreneurs succeed in life. So congratulations on behalf of all of us to Arnab Goswami and the Republic TV.
You're very kind, sir. You're very kind. So we want to get to know you better. In this series, the most exciting thing for a lot of our people who are here today is to know the person behind the headline, to know the person behind the name. Uday Kotak is a very, very, very big name. And we want to get to know you better. Wouldn't we want to start with a little bit about what makes a person tick? What makes a person such a big name? Today, if I were to say the top 3 people in the world of Indian business and corporate sector, he would be one of the 3. So I would say this to you. Anyone who knows you knows that family is very important to you. So I want to start with non-business questions. I think it matters the most to you. You grew up, as was mentioned, in a joint family, a bustling one. 60 people under one roof. Something which is near impossible to comprehend for the nuclear family generation of today. And you've always said that you're a firm believer in the family concept. So can you just expand on that and how that has shaped your life?
Yeah. So I was born in a home with 60 family members.
Hold it close.
Huh?
The mic close.
Yeah. I was born in a home with 60 family members and one kitchen. For many people who know how tough it is to have so many people in one kitchen, you understand the challenges of a joint family more than anything else. But family gave me a deep sense of culture. It gave me a sense of learning to live with contradictions between family members, uncles, aunts, parents, grandparents, cousins, sibling rivalries. We all would go to school in the same car. For a while, it was the bus. Then we got upgraded to a car, an ambassador car, where 4 or 5 of us as kids would be hustled in together. But the bonding and the pleasure of being together was awesome. And when I started Kotak, there's one thing I said: I want to bring the family culture to the fore in how we build the culture at Kotak. And if I have to say there is one point which I would strongly consider as an important aspect in our journey, it's the bonding, the family culture, and a people sense, which is at the core of successful institutions.
Does it help you deal with challenges also?
Of course, and differences, because I think
differences even in a corporate life.
One of the most important aspects of people is how open is the leader to listen to a point of view which is different from what is a standard point of view. An openness to listen and have people who are reasonably critical of a particular point of view is extremely important for a leader. But the leader may agree or disagree, but the ability to listen to a contrarian point of view is crucial for leadership.
Are you patient?
I think I'm patient, but let me tell you one thing. I was more patient at 51, which is where you are right now, than I am at 66.
Why is that?
I think I no longer run the business day to day. I'm non-executive.
So you have to adjust more.
I've changed, and therefore I don't have to manage large teams as I used to. And when I left Kotak, we were more than 100,000 people. So
100,000 people.
That's the thing. And therefore you had to manage this. And I'm sure as you grow your people, and any entrepreneur grows people, the ability to have a different perspective, different points of view, but finally taking the decision which you have conviction in is extremely important. But weighing the opposing views as well.
That's very interesting life lessons. I saw that part on cricket. Now, what is your relationship with cricket? It seems to me you have still not made peace with the fact that you did not become a professional cricketer because you had that head injury.
Yes.
And I wanted to, that was a match, Kanga League match.
That's correct.
Tell me about the day when the ball hit you on the head, when you had surgery at the age of 19. I was told you were captain of your college team when you were starting to do your MBA at the Jamnalal Bajaj Institute.
That's correct.
Tell me about the day. And how did you reconcile with what happened that day and what impact that day had on your life?
So cricket was like a passion for me. I started from school. So this was at the 5th standard or the 6th standard. And I went to the Azad Maidan for the first time. And there was a coach who was supposed to be teaching us. And in the first few days of teaching, in addition to net practice batting and bowling, he would make us do fielding. And the coach was Ramakant Achrekar, well before he started coaching Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah.
And he was a very tough coach. And on fielding, if you dropped a catch, you got a big stump hit on your bum. He would just hit you hard on this thing and say you cannot drop catches. Catches win matches. And from that training to actually batting, I am very grateful to Ramakant Achrekar for the early lessons. The man is no longer, and of course he's now produced one of the greatest cricketers of India, Sachin Tendulkar. So cricket was very much in the blood. For me, studies was a byproduct. I loved sports and playing cricket was fun. And therefore, after I completed college and I was playing this match, I was hit by a cricket ball and running between the wickets, a fielder from extra cover threw it and hit me on the head. Within an hour or so, I was fully unconscious. My left side was paralyzed. Rushed to hospital, brain surgery. And next morning, I was alive. So it was like a second life for me. But since then, my grandfather particularly said, no more cricket. And I just joined the Jamnalal Bajaj. And I hold the unique distinction because I lost a year because of cricket. that I completed my 2-year MBA in 3 years. So it took me longer, but I moved with the same passion into what I did. And at college, and this is again a very important lesson, you need some mentor. So one of my professors was a corporate finance professor called Professor Mankekar. And he was a finance manager in L&T, but every day after his class, he would be going to the stock exchange. So I literally, holding his finger, literally to say, I started going to the stock exchange with him. And he was a very smart finance man. He's probably one of the most successful investors. Many people know about him, Professor Shivanand Mankekar.
Yes, much has been written about
Yes, and some people say he is like the buffet of India. So,
Yep.
And I learned finance from him.
What is it that you learned that others did not learn?
And he said, P&Ls don't matter, profit and loss account doesn't matter. What matters is cash flow and discounted cash flow. You must make sure that you are focused on cash flow in the ultimate analysis, because that's what will count. And these are some very simple principles which Professor Mankekar taught me, and I'm grateful to him.
So, can you explain that in layman terms? That basically now, in this day and age when everybody wants to be a dollar billionaire within 6 months of getting the first round of funding, and everybody wants to be a unicorn, what does that mean, what you said? What does it mean in simple terms?
If you get money, in the initial stages, of course, you invest money, and you're investing more than you're earning, but you must have a game plan to see over time what is the cash generation happening in your business. Therefore, there may be year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. When you're investing money, you'll be negative cash flow. But you must reach a point where you become positive cash flow, because ultimately, cash generation from business is a critical part of sustainable business.
Tell me about the day you thought of starting your own bank, your own venture. Where were you placed in life? How old were you? How financially secure were you? What did you want to do it for? Did you want to make more money? Did you want your name on your bank like you've got it now? What gives you a bigger thrill today? I mean, let's go back to the day you started. Why did you start a bank of your own? What was the risk and what was the reward,
So
Mr. Kotak?
I was in the second year of my MBA class, which was Jamnalal Bajaj. And, you have all the companies coming to campus. I had done my summer job the previous year at Hindustan Lever. So one of the attractions was joining Hindustan Lever on completion of my 2 years.
Yep.
My father sat with me and said, son, what do you want to do? I said, my passion is finance, but I think I'll start a career professionally. He said, what if I convince the family to give you 200 square feet of office space at Flora Fountain, and you start on your own?
What business?
So originally it started as a financial advisory consulting business, converted to quickly bill discounting, and there was a gentleman called Mr. Sidney Pinto who actually made a big difference. He started merchant banking in India in Grindlays. He said, start your own bill discounting business. And we started with bill discounting for a company called Nelco, which was a Tata company where Mr. Ratan Tata started his career. So Nelco suppliers had a long wait to get the money because of the working capital cycles. So we started discounting bills for suppliers of Nelco, which is 90-day bills. And in those days, India was a closed economy. You would borrow money from a bank normally at 17%.
This is mid-80s.
This is mid-80s, 1983 or so, 83, 84. So you would borrow money at 17%, and if you gave money to your bank as a fixed deposit, they would pay you 6%. So I went to some family friends and said that what if I gave you a Tata company risk, and instead of 6%, you made 12? And I went to Nelco and said, I will give you significant amount of monies at 16 instead of 17. So send all your suppliers to us and we'll finance them at 16. So we would buy a bill of exchange at 16% and sell it to savers at 12% with a Tata name on due date. So the Tata company was paying on due date, and this 4% spread is what built our business. After that, another very interesting thing happened, and this is the story of Indian consumer and the Indian industry. Till 1989 in India, nobody financed cars. And consumer finance did not exist. For the first time in India, Citibank started financing cars. In those days, there was a concept of a higher purchase lending rate, which was 13%, which is you pay 13% on the original amount even as your installments come down. So effective IRR was 39%. And Citibank would finance people for cars. And 39% looked like a phenomenal rate. There was a shortage of cars. There was a waiting period of 6 months. So I remember going as a relatively young professional to Maruti, meeting then, I think Mr. Bhargav was the CEO then, telling him that what, Mr. Bhargav, if we gave you an advance booking for 5,000 cars at a time, interest-free, will you take that booking for cars through your dealers? He said, if I'm getting money interest-free for 6 months, I'm very happy. So we would be able to get cars for our customers once we started this, as soon as they wanted, because we had a continuing delivery. And we had only one condition. We are very happy to give you cars. We will not charge you a premium, but you'll have to take the car on finance from us. And we were very reasonable people. We said same terms as the great multinational Citibank. So our lending rates were the same as Citi. We would give an immediate car on delivery. We will take the hit of 6 months booking interest, which would come out of our spread, and our car business flourished. Then we went into the investment banking. I felt India was just changing. There was no concept of global capital markets. So I sought after Goldman Sachs, partnered with them, learned how capital markets worked, gave them a 25% stake in our business, and started investment banking and securities. 75% us, 25% them. Then we came to late 90s, we started a mutual fund business. In 2001, when Dr. Jalan was the RBI governor, we applied through the front door for a banking company. The RBI asked us to convert our existing NBFC into a banking company. So we became a full-fledged bank in 2003. Thereafter, both Goldman and Ford, who were our partners in the car finance business, we bought them back and became 100% owners of that business. And thereafter, we grew as a bank. 2008 happened, global financial crisis. My lesson from global financial crisis, a very important lesson, be very careful when you're reading a global newspaper. It colors you about your strategy in India, okay? Your strategy in India has to be based on your facts here. Don't get carried away by the headlines of the Wall Street Journal, okay? Extremely important, be yourself in India and grow. In 2014, we acquired ING Vaishya, which was owned 44% by ING, and merged it into Kotak Mahindra, and we became a larger company. Therefore, in many ways, it's a journey of great exhilaration. It's a journey of India's financial sector reform over time, and it's a fascinating journey. And then India went into significant challenges because of the bad lending which happened between 2008 and 2011 by Indian banks. And we, fortunately, were more cautious, so we did not have the same pain, and the marketplace rewarded us. So it's been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed the journey, and my message to every entrepreneur and every potential entrepreneur is start up, be at it, pursue with passion, and as you grow and as your creativity grows, keep on making sure you're having outstanding people work for you and build process along the way.
That's a fantastic 35-year period you've recapped so well. What was it that those who believed in you when you were 25, 26 saw in you?
I think they just felt that give this kid a chance. And the financial sector was...
Has to be. Financial sector does not work on giving a kid a chance. They must have seen something in you. They must have bet on something.
I think...
or rather, let me put it this way. What were you betting on? Because you were taking significant risk to say, I'm going to sell 5,000 cars, to go to Citibank and say, I'm going to make sure this happens. and then go back and have a percentage of interest, and then your margin was only 4%, but you were keen on getting the business first.
Yeah,
so
correct.
what were you betting on?
What I was betting on was India's story. That India
In 1983, 84, you were betting on India's story.
Absolutely.
Was there a story to tell then?
It was a story of a very insecure India. It was a story of most of my friends wanting to fly overseas
Yeah.
and settle down overseas.
Yeah.
I took the contrarian bet. And having taken the contrarian bet, I bet on the financial sector. And that's what worked. It's fortunate because of a very closed economy. The financial sector was closed. It was just opening up. And we were lucky to be at the right place at the right time.
Was that all?
I mean, for me to say anything more, it's not fair.
No, but you were taking the decisions very quickly. Like when you gave 25% to Goldman Sachs, did you think, I'm going to let Goldman Sachs in and they're going to try and tell me what to do, I'll lose my independence? Was that a thought?
No.
Did they try to do that?
No. Which is why they were 25% and we were 75. And Goldman was betting on us rather than us betting on Goldman.
No, I find your bet taking very curious, and I want that to be one of the learning lessons of this Legends episode, because you are from a business family, but they were into, I think, cotton business, and you got into a completely different area of business. So we still want to understand what made you take that plunge. And I found a quote very relevant in this regard. To put it in your own words, you said, the trouble with opportunity is that it never announces when it comes. It's only after it's gone that you realize that you missed it. What did a 26-year-old Uday Kotak think about opportunity at that point of time?
I think my view was that India's financial sector will open up. Therefore, get into each and every area of financial intermediation. One. Second, very important along the way, and something I followed all the way, that whatever you do, make sure it is within the law. Don't do anything which is outside the law. Therefore, even in bill discounting, we had a thorough examination that what we were doing was something which was permissible as an activity of buying and selling bills of exchange. So every step of the way, stay within the law and make sure that you're building a business on sound principles. But keep on taking the opportunity as it comes. Therefore, if you go step by step, when India was opening up on consumer finance, we were there. Yes. In investment banking, controller of capital issues went in 1991, we got into investment banking. Mutual funds, we got into in 1998. Life insurance in 2001, and banking in 2003. Therefore, the view was clear that India is opening up. Get into any aspect of financial intermediation as soon as it opens up. And don't use your head too much. Buy talent, buy expertise, but get into the business.
So get into the business, get market share, keep your cash flows going.
Yes.
Right? Be conservative and yet be audacious when it's required.
Correct.
Which is why you say always go for growth.
Absolutely.
Your quotation is go for growth. Let's get enterprise and animal spirits firing. Can you explain that comment of yours, which you've always repeated on many occasions?
I think very important, and this in my early journey, and I would like to say that Indian spirit, for the first 20 to 25 years of our journey, we really had the spirit. And even in the last 15 years, if I say, I would like to believe that spirit has been enhanced. Especially in the last 10 to 12 years, that you can do things. You must aim big and go after it. However, one of the challenges is that as the Indian financial sector has grown, we also have had significantly more regulatory guardrails, which is fully understandable and required.
Yes.
Having said that, as we grow, we must always keep the development and enterprise aspect alive and kicking. We should not reach a situation where, if I give an example, that if we should not move to a situation of zero accidents. A zero accident policy is a high risk to growth. Minimizing accidents is important, but a zero accident policy actually curbs growth. And in the backlash of what happened to the Indian banking sector between 2008 and 2013-14, when Indian banking really went berserk in the terms of credit, made us cautious to be lending boldly, fully understandable. But going forward, we need to make sure our focus is development and enterprise and minimizing accidents, not zero accidents.
Yeah, I find that very interesting because, recently I was talking to someone, I said, why did we not move our defense industry fast enough? And the person said, well, you people in the media are responsible. I said, how are we responsible? They said you were reporting so many scams, so the government wasn't clearing the budgets for defense, thinking that everything would be seen to be a scam. So I found that very self-contradictory, because if there's nothing to hide, there's no reason to not move. The fact that you stopped decision-making means that you were doing something wrong. So I find that very interesting. Now, in the present situation, we are in a very uniquely poised situation. We heard the Prime Minister say fifth, fourth, third largest economy. He said that in the US Congress, and I'm sure not everybody was happy about it. They may applaud it. So in the present context, I'm trying to now get you into the present context in which we are. When Mr. Piyush Goyal was speaking at a startup event recently, that comment went viral, where he said, where are India's startups of today? We are focused on food delivery apps, turning unemployed youth into cheap labor so that the rich can get their meals without moving out of the house. Now, that comment was seen a bit out of context. He was making a deeper comment on the need for us to have an economy that is focused on research, development, innovation, and manufacturing. It was not just a critique of the gig economy. Now, we have a gig economy versus deep tech issue going on in our country. How do you view this? Because we have to understand the message that needs to go across to India's youth, to India's startups. They're not about making money. It's about doing businesses that grow your country as well. You're constantly talking about betting on India. But then we need to bet on those areas which will make our country great. Yeah. Are we doing that enough, sir?
I think I will add a couple of points. First, I actually believe the next generation of business families is becoming too much of financial investors instead of going out there and building businesses, operating businesses.
They're investing existing money.
Yes. Created by the family and saying, oh, I'm running a family office as a young guy of 30 or 35. Instead of saying, I'm out there in the trenches building something. What India needs is middle manufacturing. We have done a lot for MSME. There is a large amount of big business, or at least there are very big players. What we need is middle India in manufacturing. And entrepreneurs of today, startups of today, don't go into middle manufacturing, which is sizes or project sizes between 50 crores plus, which is the MSME limit, to 1,000 crores. This is the area where we must make it interesting for fresh entrepreneurs and provide capital, including startup capital and, if necessary, support from government to build middle manufacturing in India. India's manufacturing share of our total GDP is now 14%. For us to become a truly global power, we need that to be in the 20s. And I would go all out to support technology related to manufacturing along with research in a whole host of areas to get a better balance in addition to the huge growth in services. I think agriculture will come with its challenges. We should still build it. My father is a great believer in Indian agriculture. But as a financial services person, I passionately believe India needs middle-size, mid-size manufacturing, and entrepreneurs must be encouraged to go out on the streets. And it's a tough life. You're dealing with inspectors, setting up, factory approvals, policies, state governments, central governments. Arnab, I would strongly encourage through your channel to push for entrepreneurship to go into building manufacturing and operating businesses for the future.
So let's say this is 2025, right? And it is the 31st of July, 2025, and 20-year-old Uday Kotak has gone into bat at Azad Maidan. Unfortunately, 20-year-old Uday Kotak gets hit by a ball on his head while trying to take a second run. and wakes up in the next morning out of paralysis and alive. And then he tells his father, I'm going into business. And suppose your father says, Beta, go to any business but not finance and not cotton. In the context of what you just said, what business would you have gone into? Which will be indicative of what the India story you view is likely to be.
I would certainly consider manufacturing and mid-sized manufacturing in whichever space. It could be engineering, it could be pharma, it could be a whole host of areas of manufacturing. I would go into that. The way to build success is to be able to do things which other people think at that point of time is not doable or very difficult.
Such as today?
Such as starting Republic TV. Starting Kotak when we did.
Right.
Because people said financial services in 1985 in a closed economy, what a stupid idea.
Impossible, they say. Yeah.
And 97% of Indian banking was public sector.
Yep.
But that was the opportunity.
Yep.
And you take it, as I say, when others find it uninteresting or don't even think about it.
Yep. I find your concept of roti very interesting. I want you to talk a little bit about it. Your concept of roti, return on time invested. Return on time invested is a concept which fascinates me a lot, right? We need to use it in our daily lives in every way. And who better to learn this from than Mr. Uday Kotak himself? You've often said, go relentlessly for productivity, but believe in roti, return on time investment. Can you expand on it with any real life examples?
जिस देश में गंगा बहती है, उस देश में रोटी बढ़नी है. How do we increase return on our time invested? Each of us has a limited time on our planet Earth, professionally or otherwise. Okay? For every moment we spend, are we feeling that we are making progress at the speed at which we need to? And let us measure, and this actually comes from the concept of discounted cash flow. Okay? It's discounted cash flow of a lifespan. Okay? And I do believe India can do a lot more in this area of roti. We need to get our judicial system, our overall administrative system, the reform system to make return on time invested for every Indian better. Relentlessly focus on roti and change the destiny of this country. Why should cases in courts take years? It moves, I think it's one of the most fascinating intergenerational stories about how the court case of a grandfather continues.
100%, absolutely.
And similarly, in many areas, roti is what is holding back even, say, manufacturing. Why do people go into services or food delivery and all that? Because roti in manufacturing is difficult. How do we make roti easy? How do we make it attractive? Therefore, Arnab, that is what we really need to crack.
Day-to-day life, sir, what would it be?
Day-to-day life is, when you're doing your business, your work, take your calls based on how you will get return for what you're doing. Return in not just financial terms. It could be pleasure, it could be satisfaction, it could be completion of something.
Learning.
Measure. Measure what you do and how can you do it more productively. Because finally, there's a finite time each of us have in our lives. And if we don't measure return on our time, roti will really hurt us in terms of our long-term future.
Yeah. A personal observation. You've served corporates, you've built companies. People like Uday Kotak should be serving the country. My personal view, do you agree with me, ladies and gentlemen? In today's day and age of Donald Trump, Trumponomics, we have to come to the subject of the day. And it's so interesting. Yesterday when this happened, I said to myself that Donald Trump probably knows that Uday Kotak is coming to Republic, so he can get a headline out of him. Now, the question we need to know and the question the world wants to know, how do we deal with Donald Trump? You know, yesterday I could not believe it when he says, and the way he speaks. So there are many things. Sir. There are the way he speaks and the decisions he takes. 25% plus 10%, and then as if that is not enough, then you go and call the Indian economic policy, tariff issues obnoxious. As if that is not enough, you say, I am going to help dig oil in Pakistan. I think Pakistan will one day export oil to India. And that is not enough. Then post on Truth Social saying that I don't care about the dead economy of India and the dead economy of Russia. Good luck to them, etc. So it's, it seems petty, of course. There are a lot of people who say ignore him. But then we can't ignore the economics behind it. So can I have your overall understanding and sense of the situation and how you would have dealt with it, sir, if you were in government, and what you feel about the way the Modi government is dealing with this present situation, sir? Thank you, sir.
Arnab, I believe in a first principle, simple line. Power is power. And Donald Trump has inherited US power. It is the power of the US dollar, it's the power of the US financial system, it's the power of the US military, it's the power of US hegemony in terms of being the largest economy in the world. It has happened over a long period of time. Donald Trump is sitting on that seat and leveraging that. You can do it in the short run. And he's doing it in the short run. I genuinely believe over time, there's a very important aspect of trust. Why do people put money in dollars? They trust it. And trust takes a long time to build, but can be eroded very fast. And I genuinely feel that the approach which the US has taken may serve it in the short run. But in the long run, it will have a price which the United States of America will pay to the world. And I genuinely feel the US in many ways is playing into China's hands. And what we have to watch out for is in this battle, we are still an emerging power. There is a large power which is the US, the second largest power which is China. How do we as an emerging power do not get caught in this crossfire and find our own journey independent of these two, at the same time realizing that this is a global chessboard? One of our challenges is we have a certain important agenda, which I always call is the domestic political economy.
Political agenda, yes, yes.
And then there is a global agenda. At times, the narratives between the two have to be distinct. And we should not be caught in the middle of these two narratives in terms of deciding what is right for us. And Donald Trump knows what India does not like. He has kept on poking that, hyphenating Pakistan and India, because he knows what is irritating Indians. We should not fall to his bait. We should be clear that there are areas we may have to agree. And there are areas we will have to take a position. But either way, I think we've also got to be clear. The man has huge ego.
Yeah, we know
Somebody is going to take care of that. And make sure that we are playing to it in a manner which is not inconsistent with our domestic objectives. But playing to his ego is an important part of the narrative. You're seeing a world of strong men, okay? And in many countries. And you just saw the way he annihilated Europe in the negotiation. Europe gave away a lot, had to say zero duty for US goods into Europe against 15% duty on European goods into US. I don't think Europeans are happy, but they gave in. The only people who are standing tough against Trump at this stage, and I'm keeping India as a separate discussion, is China. Because China has something to give. US needed the rare earths. US needs things from China because otherwise their domestic economy slows down. Therefore, I am a genuine believer that finally power is power, and India has to dramatically increase its speed for building our raw power. And we, on the economic side, have a lot to do to turbocharge India's growth.
What do we have leverage with vis-a-vis Trump? There must be something he wants from us. Now, we can't give in on everything on agriculture because we have our own domestic interests, not just our domestic politics to take care of. And he's pushing agriculture. He's pushing dairy products. We have our farmers. We have our Amul. We have our local interests, which we also need to protect. So how do we balance it out? Because he's going to be unrelenting here on. And how much can this hit India if this continues unresolved?
This is a game of chess. What stops India from posturing for a better economic relationship with China?
Our strategic relationship has not been seen to be very good.
I'm talking about economic relationship.
Can you separate the two?
My view is we have to play the cards which will make the US uncomfortable. And economics, China has $100 billion trade surplus with us. We have taken a strategic call that we will get closer to the US and to that extent be a little distant from China. But if US is going the way it is, we have to find what makes sense for us. Finally, it is self-interest.
But if they have $100 billion trade surplus with us, is it Chinese leverage on us or our leverage on China?
But China already has that.
They already have it.
So
aren't we supposed to reduce it?
How will you reduce it? Now you will have a challenge.
Shouldn't we do that?
But that is back to domestic manufacturing.
Yes.
I mean, India imports Ganeshas and Rakhis.
Yes. Shouldn't we stop doing that?
But then we have to produce cheaper here.
Can we produce cheaper
We
here?
should. And
Mixers, grinders, Ganeshas,
absolutely.
Rakhis, everything.
What can India do to make things in time, that is return on time invested, and more productively and cheaper?
But that will take time.
But you have to start.
But do we have that time with Trump also breathing down our neck from the other side?
What's our choice?
What's our choice? Do we have a choice?
We have to go whole hog turbocharge. If necessary, the government has to give steroids for building.
What steroids would that be?
I would say give capital support to mid-sector
Do
manufacturing.
we have that level of capital available?
I think the government has to give it out of the budgets. One of the great things India has done in the last few years is phenomenal macroeconomic stability. Great control over fiscal deficit. We got to manage that. I think there have been many areas of success on our macroeconomic side. We have to use that leverage to turbocharge India's businesses.
But you're also walking a thin line geostrategically. You mentioned domestic politics to be one thing and international economics on the other.
Yeah.
May I add a third dimension, which is geostrategic stability? We've been through Operation Sindoor. We don't like the hyphenation with Pakistan. It's unfair. But the fact is that we have a long border with China. We have a long, troublesome border with Pakistan, right? And a line of control. We have to hold our own. We are in no camp, right? And we are still a few years away from getting to that level of defense production and capacity that we should to counter China completely. So what do we need to do? I mean, I think this government's got a lot to do in the next 2 or 3 years.
Arnab, the biggest strength India has is its domestic part of the economy. Our international part of the economy is much smaller than a China, a Japan, Middle East, or any other country. And fortunately, oil prices are low. So we are in a reasonably good macroeconomic situation. And this is the time to turbocharge at steroids India's domestic economy, finance it, grow it, and relentlessly focus.
Keep buying oil from Russia.
I don't know the impact of that. That's a matter of negotiation.
What would you do?
It depends on what the terms of sanction are. So that's a simple trade call.
But then you'll spoil the relationship with Russia if you relent there.
You have to figure out what it costs. Finally, we have to do our self-interest. Go back to cash flow. How much is the cash flow you'll give up for what? And that's the trade you have to calculate very carefully and very smartly and succinctly.
Do you think we're in for rough weather in the next 2-3 years?
I would like every Indian to assume we will be in rough weather and prepare to do very well in rough weather. Men and women and strength are built not in good weather. It's built when the going gets tough.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the going gets tough, tough get going. Indians must wake up. We should get out of our comfort zone that everything is great, even if it is. Let us have a sense of a paranoia. Okay, India is going to be getting attacked from the global side. What are we doing? How are we shaking ourselves? And it takes me back to the 80s and 90s when many of us were very insecure about India's future.
Yes.
And we were convinced we'll build it. You remember in 1992, when India first started opening up, there was this so-called Bombay Club, worried about being attacked by the foreigners.
Yeah.
But that same Bombay Club and manufacturers, whether it's Tatas, Mahindras, Bharat Forge and Kalyani's, Bajaj, they all woke up, and by year 2000, Indian manufacturers started competing with the best in the world. So where is that sense of paranoia in every Indian? I genuinely believe Indians should get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is the time for Indians to wake up and say, next 2 or 3 years are tough for us.
I almost think you're like a prophet. Do you see this coming 2 years back when you came to my event? Mr. Kotak came to my event 2 years back and he said, de-dollarization. And I said, many people said, is Mr. Kotak overreacting? When he said that, and his words were, the US dollar is acting like a vacuum pump, sucking capital out of the emerging markets. Stop being dependent on the US dollar. Now, this is what he said 2 years back. And so he's like, I thought, is he being paranoid? But now when I see Trump doing the kind of things that he does, probably you factored in that a day will come when India's growth will be disliked by other countries.
Absolutely.
We have been in the wrong view that the world will like our growth, because when we move from middle to great, the world will see us not with curiosity but as an enemy.
Yes.
And that is beginning to happen. And we saw that when the BRICS meeting happened recently, Trump immediately reacted. All of you people in BRICS will be given 10% plus penalties. You spoke about these alternate financial instruments. And Trump, you mention an alternative financial instrument like a BRICS currency, and he throws a fit. We've seen this happening. So something interesting is happening to the world where Trump is saying, America, America, MAGA, MAGA, dollar, dollar. And the rest of the world is saying, no, we need to come together because we are not here to make America great again. We are here to make Indonesia great again, to make India great again, to make Malaysia great again. So what is your take on where you stand on the de-dollarization idea? In layman terms, what would it mean in today's context, 2025?
I think every major sovereign in the world is concerned about his or her surpluses in the US dollar. Unfortunately, there are not too many alternatives. But as if the US does not play its cards well and people start losing trust, say for example, inflation goes up and that creates some pressure, and US does not increase its US interest rates as much, or the dollar goes weak. It's a very heavily over-borrowed country. Okay? We have to play to our strength, and the world is looking for alternative currency as a safe haven. Therefore, the money is moving in gold. That's why the money is moving in crypto to a certain extent. People are looking for alternatives outside the US dollar. Build our strength, build our domestic economy. I don't think we should be satisfied with growth at 6 or 6.5. Time has come for us to
What takes us to 9, 10, which we need now?
That's what we need. And we need to, every Indian needs to get out of his or her comfort zone. Even if we are doing well, let us shake ourselves that next 2 or 3 years, we have to really go after it on the assumption that we will have tough times. I'm not saying we will have tough times, but if we assume we have tough times, it will harden us and wake us up, to shake us up, that India needs the mojo seriously.
Operation Sindoor saw that in the defense sector. It was that, it was like the COVID moment in another context that we never expected coming, but it came. So we saw the 4-day conflict with Pakistan. What is your view on defense spending? What is your view on what we should do for the defense industry? Why wouldn't you do more in that regard, sir?
I've said this at least 2 or 3 years ago. India's defense percentage spend is much lower than what it should be. It's around 2 or below 2%. Okay, we need to dramatically increase that. Okay, Europe is talking about 5%, and with the kind of neighborhood we have, and if we believe we are building domestic defense strength, I would want India to build India's defense by 0.5 percentage point of GDP higher every year for the next 5 years. Keep on increasing your defense spend. That builds your domestic manufacturing. People forget, and I'm not suggesting like that, but World War II created huge number of manufacturing post-World War II as well. All the defense companies became great manufacturing companies. Most of the German car companies were defense companies in World War II. So what does India do in defense? That's a way of building our manufacturing. And I don't think we can trust other countries' defense weapons. Because they may not give it to you at the right time. Or they
may not give you the complete key. Or they may switch off when we don't want them to.
Therefore, it is to be, if India has to be Atmanirbhar, defense spend and defense domestic manufacturing has to be one of the core pillars of the next 5 years.
Absolutely. So you're saying we need an institutional change overall. We're going to open up for a few questions also in the course of this. Can you tell me, what do you think India is not doing right now from an economic perspective, where we should be doing much better? Because we can't be in this self-congratulatory mode, you know. There must be something that we need to reset immediately, given what's happened strategically and economically. Operation Sindhu, Trumponomics and everything. What do we need to figure out and change fast? India is
too much in what I call the cruise mode.
Cruise?
Like we believe we are all cruising along. Okay? And too much easy money in the stock market.
Everybody wants to be in the stock market.
Why should I build or run or operate a manufacturing company when I can make 15% in the stock market or 20% in the stock market by investing in small and mid-cap stocks?
I don't need to do anything. I just need to roll money.
Change the narrative. We have to get out of our comfort zone.
What is the comfort zones?
Comfort zone is, we are now all much more secure, okay? And we need to shake Indian business, Indian entrepreneurs, Indian professionals from a mindset where everything is okay. To a mindset, God, we have big challenges next 5 years, shake up and wake up.
Yeah. You know, when you were coming, one of the people we invited who couldn't come today is the founder and the CEO of Jana Bank. You know him very well, sir. And he sent a message. And I've seen you repeat this word, paranoia, so many times. Ajay from Jana Bank, sir, you know him, sir. He said, Arnab, in one of the leadership talks to the team, I had asked Uday what kept Kotak Bank in such a healthy shape. And he said it was because he was always paranoid. You know, paranoia for something which will go wrong, which kept him alert. I liked his candidness so much that I named our conference room in the office with the same name. And he sent me a picture of a conference room with the word paranoia. So I'm taking this away from you because it means a lot. It could mean to somebody, journalist at Republic. It could mean something to a reporter, an anchor, a producer, a journalism student. Paranoia, you know, the book, Only the Paranoid Survive. You've repeated this word at least 20 times in this conversation. I love it because, you know, this keeps me going. But can it drive a person crazy as well on a lighter note?
I think if we don't drive ourselves crazy, we don't succeed.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Ash, that's for you.
And one of the biggest things which I caution every one of us, and it could be the businessman, it could be the politician, it could be a leader in any field.
Yeah.
Complacency of success.
Beautiful.
The danger of short-term or medium-term success is it makes us complacent. And that's the beginning of the failure cycle setting in.
That's beautiful. See, in a front row, we have our group CFO and our group CEO. We are going to rename their rooms. We will call Mohit Dhamne the group CFO's room. We will title it Cash Flow. And we will title our Harsh Bhandari CEO's room Paranoia. But this is beautiful. These are real life lessons.
Absolutely.
You can't learn this in a B school, you know. This is what I love about the Legends series. It's real life lessons. This is wonderful, wonderful. 50 years, my last question, and then I'll throw the mic open for a few. 50 years of Kotak Mahindra Bank. 1984. No,
Yeah,
40 years.
40 years.
40 years. A long time. Is longevity success or something else?
No, don't take longevity for granted.
No?
No.
There are people who say, my company's been on for 20 years, that is my success. Somebody says, my company is 50-year-old, that is my success. You don't think that's success?
If you take the S&P 500
Yeah.
and take companies which were there 100 years ago versus today, I think the number is less than 10%.
Then what is success if not longevity?
Success
for a company?
is how do you ensure that there are some things which must change and some things which must never change. Things which must change is changing with the times. For example, we are moving to a digital world, a creative
Correct.
world, the design world, the AI world. Those things must change in your company. There are some things which must never change, which is culture, of family values.
Yeah.
Believe that always follow God-made laws. We know what God-made laws are. Truth, trust, things like that. And those must never change. So longevity is about getting it right between what must change and what must never change.
This is a wonderful learning experience for me. Round of applause for him, sir. This is inspiring. It is real life. You're a grounded and earthy man.
Thank you.
Yeah, the beauty of the Legends series, and we have Asha Bhosle coming up soon in a few days, you know that. The beauty is when you meet the legends, they appear so real. They appear so real. They appear so grounded. They appear so humble. And I loved it the way you spoke to our people in the newsroom today. You made them so happy. They'll remember that moment. Shall we throw the mic around for a few questions? Do we have questions? Shall we take 4 or 5 questions? We already see 5 hands up. Can we keep the questions short, quick? To Mr. Kotak, if you can introduce yourself, sir, please, and then throw the question here, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. As MP Singh, I'm a business consultant in aerospace and defense field. You mentioned about like we start, the strong economic relation with China. Is there any other option as well?
Is there any other option?
Any other option than, compared to China?
Then a strong equation with China, and then a strong economic equation with China.
I think I look at 3 powers today. Big powers: China, Europe, US. We have to decide how we play our game with each of them. And of course, the 4th power, which is becoming more powerful, is the Middle East.
Middle East, yeah.
Okay? But the Middle East normally doesn't like to take on any of these.
Yes.
Okay? But these 3 powers are the key powers, and we have to play our game with each of them for what makes sense for us. And we have to be clear that we should not be in a situation which puts us at odds with all the 3. We need some friends. And how do we get that?
Sir.
Sir, I'm Dr. Ranjit Kumar, and I'm a new entrepreneur into IT services business. I run an IT company, IndiCorp. You talked a lot about coming out of the comfort zone and entrepreneurship and startup businesses and all. So I believe that most of the people who are actually coming out and going for the entrepreneurship, they are all already coming out from the comfort zone. My only question is to you is, that being a new entrepreneur or a startup business, many a times we feel that we need some mentor. And you said that in life you need some mentor as well. So sometimes you need certain business coaches which can help you to look for the dimensions which you do not have that, you are doing the business with a gut feeling, right? But you need certain guidelines as well. So do you feel that any startup businesses or new entrepreneurs need some business coaches? On the other hand, we need to understand that the business coaches are charging heavily for their coaching as well. Right. So what is your suggestion on to all those people who are the new entrepreneurs?
My answer is simple. A coach is a good support, but the batting style should always be yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
keep that in mind. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Arnab, good afternoon, Mr. Kotak. I'm Arun Arora. I used to work with Maruti. I worked very closely with Mr. R.C. Bhargav and Mr. Jagdish Khattar. What I wanted to share with you is something very interesting. There was another entrepreneur who belonged to a very small village in Haryana, Mr. J.K. Sharma. And back then, when you gave example of financing cars, which was one of the earliest thing to do for any company, you also started financing trucks. And he was a person who was a school dropout from Ginger, and he worked closely with Kotak. And he borrowed money for trucks from Kotak, and he went on to set up one of the largest company. And I discovered all this when I was writing his biography, and fortunately we have his son here today, Sachin Haritash. Your Mr. Ajit and later Mr. Deepak Gupta financed, and he always used to say कि Kotak का money हमें फलता है. And he was successful because of inspiration from you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll certainly pass on this back as a success story of entrepreneurs.
We'll share the clip with you, sir. Absolutely.
Hi, sir. I am Ashu Kansal. I am part of robotics and warehousing automation company at Verb, and I am CFO there. I have a question to you. How do you differentiate between a Chinese banking system versus Indian banking system? How they have been able to fund their startups so well right from niche stage? So recently I went for a 900-kilometer trip via Jaipur, then Manesar and back. It was an excellent highway, everything wonderful. But there was not even a single industry either on the left or on the right side. I was so shocked what is happening. On one hand, we are creating such a wonderful infrastructure, but actually either government failure is there or banking failure is there. Where are we lacking?
Thank you.
I think it's less about banking. It's more about entrepreneurs finding it easier to do businesses in the non-manufacturing sector. Therefore, we have to analyze what are the pain points. But as Arnab said, trying to analyze and answer the pain points takes time. In the short run, I am a great believer that the government must come out with a superb capital support scheme for middle manufacturing to turbocharge manufacturing in our country. So essentially what a capital support scheme, what I'm talking about is, the state says if 100 rupees is the equity required, 200 rupees is the debt, project cost is 300. Out of the 100 equity, the government provides 40 as support equity, which is like a preference capital, repayable over 10, 12, 15 years. So you make return on your 60, but you got capital of 100 for the purposes of setting up your plant. Okay. So some support scheme which turbocharges Indian mid-manufacturing is what I would strongly advocate for India to get back. And in the meantime, remove all the hurdles.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Avriti Raturi and I'm an entrepreneur. I started my own wellness brand. I just wanted to ask you, what is your message to young entrepreneurs, and what do you feel like, what is a better leadership style in general?
I think it's a very wide question. My advice is be bold, go into enterprise. If things do not work out, you will be even more valuable for a job.
Yeah.
Thank you, first of all, for such an insightful experience that I've just got. My question is precisely going back to your childhood, where you mentioned that you were under the roof sharing with 60 family members, and I understand I'm a wellness practitioner and I've been into this industry for 16 years. And when I meet the youngsters these days, they talk about traumas a lot. That's become a very buzzword. And they're taking it into their advantage. And I'm sure the kind of traumas that you would have got living with 60 people would have definitely taken a toll on your mental well-being. And how had you been dealing with it thus far? And also pointing out what Arnab said, that you're being disliked by people because who do not want your growth. So from that angle, how have you been dealing this disliking, and also giving a message to the young entrepreneurs how to take these traumas into their for their benefit? Yeah. Thank you so much.
I think the question I have to ask is that all the people who have had traumas, how many of them were born in a family of 60 people?
Yeah.
That's the irony, actually.
That's well said.
And actually, the wellness culture came from within the family.
Yes.
It's a very powerful social instrument.
Yeah.
I know a 60-member family is unsustainable in today's times.
Yeah.
But the cocoon of a family is such a powerful Indian concept. And a lot of traumas get out of control when people don't fully believe in the family culture.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Being a stock market mentor, I love the line you said about stock market investing, right? And I love the way you taught us what the real expectation we should have from stock market, right? That our broking industry, what can our broking industry actually convey to the people, and what can it do to actually make the youths of India today realize what is actually the real expectation we should have from stock market?
I think about the stock market not as a casino.
Well, thank you.
Think about it as a place where you have capital formation for the country.
That's great.
And price discovery. The core of a stock market is capital formation place for the country and price discovery for investors. And when you forget these two, there is a challenge. And there's a very famous John Maynard Keynes statement that speculators are like a steady stream speculators are like bubbles on a steady stream of enterprise. That's fine. The problem arises when the enterprise becomes a bubble.
Right.
And we have to avoid that.
That's well said.
Thank you so much.
Such good life lessons, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Uday Kotak, sir. It's been a total honor to have you. I don't know if you understand, but in this period we've spent on stage together, there's been a lot of learning for people beyond the world of finance. And when this is broadcast, I think a lot of people will love it. Personally, for me, a great delight to meet you again, sir. More power to you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला। Play it your way. Sarah, this is your space. Play it your way. आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ। 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है? सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना। लिया सोना। आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूम देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, कहीं तो न्याय हो गया। और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर। खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई तुम्हारे चैनल से कोई संबंध नहीं था, मगर मेरे को ढूंढ के निकाल के आपने अपने स्टूडियो में बुलाया था और बुला के मेरे को पूछ के सही तरीके से मेरा इंटरव्यू लिया था सर। उसका काम हो गया और अच्छा काम हुआ उसके अंदर। सही तरीके से सही जजमेंट, सही एविडेंस और जो चाहिए वो विटनेसेस मिल गए सर आपको।
मुजावर जी, लास्ट टाइम जब आपने बात की थी हमारे
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
As Tamil Nadu is facing one of the most intense heat wave, one of Madurai's water bodies, the Tenkal Kanmai tank, which covers about 377 acres of water body in Tamil Nadu, has dried up. This has triggered concerns among farmers and residents who heavily depend on the water body. In a sudden turn of events, the Punjab Vigilance Bureau is conducting raids at Ranjit Singh Gill's residence, who is the owner of Gillico Group in Chandigarh. These raids come through just hours after he joined the BJP. After a series of vandalism in Yavat, the Maharashtra police have detained 20 people who were responsible for the act. A number of vehicles and places of worship were also vandalized. Due to heavy downpour of rainfall over northern states, Rajasthan has recorded an increased downpour. The rainfall was 130% more than the previous year. The Chambal River has crossed its danger mark of 4 meters. Minister Jawahar Singh Bedam also inspected the flood situation and the people affected during the floods.
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूम देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. महमूद मुजावर जी, थैंक यू, शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और प्योर मसाला. थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और प्योर मसाला.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. महमूद मुजावर जी, थैंक यू, शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in?
मैं अपनी पूरी कहानी जो लिख रही हूँ उसमें ये सब आएगा, लेकिन सत्य जो है ना वो प्रकट होता है, और सत्य प्रकट हुआ. माननीय मोदी जी का भी नाम लिया था. मुझे मैं गुजरात में रहती थी, इसलिए उन्होंने मोदी जी का भी नाम मुझसे कहलवाने का प्रयास किया.
Republic gets first response from Sadhvi Pragya, says she was asked to name PM Modi in the Malegaon case by the ATS officers who allegedly tortured her. Acquitted accused Lieutenant Colonel Purohit says nation wants to know at whose behest the case was fabricated.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान दुनिया ने भारत का यही रूप देखा है. भारत पर जो वार करेगा वो पाताल में भी नहीं बचेगा.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails Operation Sindoor in Varanasi and reiterates how India obliterated Pakistan terror dens.
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का.
MDH की देगी मीरज.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar, and I'm here to tell you that also gives me the license to guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management.
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो.
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात.
राजा और प्योर मसाला.
Sarah, this is your space, slay it your way.
छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira economy and the Rajiv economy. That was a genuinely dead economy. If you want an economy that is vibrant, this is that economy. The economy of India today under the Modi government is...
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
As Tamil Nadu is facing one of the most intense heat wave, one of Madurai's water bodies, the Tenkal Kanmai tank, which covers about 377 acres of water body in Tamil Nadu, has dried up. This has triggered concerns among farmers and residents who heavily depend on the water body. In a sudden turn of events, the Punjab Vigilance Bureau is conducting raids at Ranjit Singh Gill's residence, who is the owner of Gillico Group in Chandigarh. These raids come through just hours after he joined the BJP. After a series of vandalism in Yavat, the Maharashtra police have detained 20 people who were responsible for the act. A number of vehicles and places of worship were also vandalized. Due to heavy downpour of rainfall over northern states, Rajasthan has recorded an increased downpour. The rainfall was 130% more than the previous year. The Chambal River has crossed its danger mark of 4 meters. Minister Jawahar Singh Bedam also inspected the flood situation and the people affected during the floods.
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। मसाला,
भारत की अपनी दुकान, इंडिया सोना,
अपने देश का सामान, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना,
इंडिया सोना।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira.
मैं अपनी पूरी कहानी जो लिख रही हूँ उसमें ये सब आएगा, लेकिन सत्य जो है ना वो प्रकट होता है, और सत्य प्रकट हुआ। माननीय मोदी जी का भी नाम लिया था। मुझे मैं गुजरात में रहती थी, इसलिए उन्होंने मोदी जी का भी नाम मुझसे कहलवाने का प्रयास किया।
Republic TV gets first response from Sadhvi Pragya after the verdict in Malegaon blast case. Says she was asked to name Prime Minister Modi in the Malegaon case by the ATS officer who tortured her.
You know everyone what they have suffered. There is nothing new I am going to say.
You know everything, but you should know, and the honorable judge rightly has written everything. So please go through the judgment.
Another acquitted accused in the Malegaon blast case, Lieutenant Colonel Prohit says nation wants to know at whose behest the case was fabricated.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान दुनिया ने भारत का यही रूप देखा है। भारत पर जो वार करेगा वो पाताल में भी नहीं बचेगा।
Prime Minister Modi in home ground Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh hails Operation Sindoor and reiterates how India decimated Pakistan terrorists.
अगर आपके पास सबूतों का एटम बम है तो उसका परीक्षण तुरंत कर डालिए, सारे सबूत जनता के सामने रखिए। मगर सच्चाई है कि उनके पास न कोई तथ्य है न सबूत है। सनसनीखेज बातें करना उनकी पुरानी आदत है।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dares Rahul Gandhi to prove for poll rigging as Rahul Gandhi claims to have the proof. Election Commission of India fact checks RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav on missing name in the voter list, claiming that these allegations are unfounded and completely baseless. In Karnataka, special court sentences Prajwal Revanna to life imprisonment, awarding maximum punishment in the sexual assault case against him. And Republic TV has a first and exclusive response on the Malegaon blast verdict from the acquitted accused Sadhvi Pragya. And speaking exclusive to Republic TV, she says that she was forced to take name of the Prime Minister and also the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. And not just these two, she was also asked to take the name of Indresh Kumar, RSS leader, and also, in fact, when it comes to senior BJP leader Ram Madhav as well. Let me go across to senior editor Shravan Sen, who will speak live to Ram Madhav.
It was their conspiracy.
Before I go into the details of the conspiracy here, Mr. Ram Madhav, I was a young reporter in Mumbai when I met those witnesses. At that point in time, they were extremely afraid because the government was after them. I remember categorically speaking to one of those witnesses, I'm not naming the witness here, has come on record to say how they were being tortured by the ATS at that point in time. Sadhvi Pragya has come on record to say the Prime Minister's name was to be taken because she was spending a considerable amount of time in Gujarat. You say that you have been handling this case right from the beginning. What is it that the world really does not know? What is it that you figured out when you were looking into this case right at the stage, right at the beginning? I want you to tell the viewers, tell our viewers who have been watching, what exactly did you find in the preliminary stage?
You see, I probably don't want to reveal too many of those details at this juncture. But I can tell you that whatever stories that you are hearing from some of those accused about the torture during the course of investigation and all are utterly true. There's not at all any exaggeration. We knew we used to get horrible stories about how they treated Sadhvi Pragya, how they treated Colonel Purohit, and how treated several others. They were tortured to a great extent to at least extract some names of the RSS and BHP leadership. So it was very shocking. Obviously, I was privy to many things, but it is not the right time to talk about individuals and all. But I will definitely vouch for those things that were being narrated by those victims. I know they are talking